Now that we got that double categories issue resolved, let's move on to our document modified and document removed functions. We'll start with the easy one, and that is the onDocument removed. When a document is removed from our Firestore database and we are notified of it, we need to remove it from our categories array and then remove it from the collection view. And that's it, pretty easy. So here's what we do. We simply say, first we need to add our necessary arguments here. And for the document removed, all we need is we're going to need the old index. So we just need the change object, the document change. And then we'll come back up here and we'll pass in that change. And then with that change, we'll have the old index. So we're going to be removing from our categories array the object where it used to be. So we're going to say categories.remove at, and then we say change.old index. Now we're going to need to cast this as an int. There we go. And so now we are deleting it from our categories array. But that's not enough. We need to tell our collection view also to remove it from the view itself. So we can do that saying collection view.delete items at, and we see here that we need to pass into it an array of index path. So we say at, then we initialize an index path. So I'm going to say index path, and we're going to do that by the item and section. So we say, let's go ahead and create a variable for the old index here. So I'm going to say let old index equals, just so we don't have to do that cast twice. Clean this up a little bit. Old index item is old index, and then our section is 0. We only have one section in our collection view. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's test this out. I'm going to run it, and then we're going to need to open up our console for our project. And again, I'm going to kind of see if we can squish this down a little bit, bring up our simulator, and which one of these should we remove? Let's go ahead and remove the animals category. So we'll find that here in our categories. All right, so here we have the animals, and the way to delete a document here in the Firestore console is to click right up here, and you can say delete document or delete document fields. And then for collections, if you want to delete all the documents in a collection, then you can do so right here. But we're just going to remove a single document. So once I click on this, we are going to remove it from our categories array and then tell the collection view to reload its data. And so watch over here when I delete this. I'm going to say start delete, and boom, there we go. Real-time updates. The collection view automatically animates that for us, which is really nice. And yeah, so that is pretty sweet. All right, let's move on to the next one, onDocument modified. The modified function is just a little more complex than the added and deleted, and that is because there are two possible scenarios. The first case is that the item is modified, but it stays in the same location in its order. In other words, its new index and old index are the same. The second case is where the document is moved in its order that is returned from Firestore. In other words, the new index does not equal its old index. And additionally, the data could also have been modified. So let's draft that out. We are going to say, let me close this bottom pane. If the change, we need to pass in the change and the category to this function. So I'm going to say change of type, document change, and then category of type category. And then we'll add those right up here. Just gonna copy what we have here in the onDocument added and paste that there. And then we'll say if the change dot old index, or we'll do new index is equal to change dot old index. In other words, the item changed but remained in the same position. Else, the item changed and changed position. Okay. So for the first case, where the item is changed but remains in the same position, all we need to do is replace the item in our categories array with the new item and reload the collection view at that location. Okay, so let's get the index for that location. We can say let index equal int. And here you could grab the old or the new index. It doesn't matter because we have established that they are the same. I'm going to use the new index. Then I'm going to say categories at that specific index. And we're going to replace it with the new category that is passed into this function. So I'm just going to say that the categories at that index is equal to this new category. And then all we have to do is reload our collection view at this particular index. So I'm going to say collection view dot reload items at, and same thing we've been doing. We need to initialize an index path with the item at index and the section being 0. All right, that looks pretty good. Just to run through this one more time. When the change new index and old index are the same, the item has changed but remained in the same position. So we simply replace the existing category with the new category in the same location, and then we reload the collection view at that index path. All right, so let's test this out again. Let's run this first. Go into our database here. And now when we modify one of these, we should be able to see it be updated right away. So let's see here. Let's change landscape to just landscapes. And when I update that, we should see it. Yep, there we go. It just updated to landscapes. And this is only updating this individual cell. It's not going through and upload and reloading the entire collection view. All right, so that is looking good. Our next scenario is when the item changes position, okay? So let's go ahead and create some variables for the old and new index, which are not going to be the same. So I'm gonna say old index is equal to, let's say int, and this is change dot old index. And then we have a new index, let new index equal int, and this is change dot new index. And what we need to do is we're going to kind of swap the location of these. We're going to remove the old category at the old index, and then we're going to insert the new category at the new index. So all we have to do is say categories dot remove at the old index, and then categories dot insert the new element, which is our new category, at the new index. And then finally, we just need to use the collection view to move it in the view. So we're going to say collection view dot move item, and it says here that it moves an item from one location to another in the collection view. So we're going to have two index paths here. We're going to move the item at this index path to our new index path. So this index path at will be using our old index, and then the to index path will be using our new index. Okay, so I'm going to say at index path, and this is created from an item and section, and the item is the old index, and section being 0, to our new index path, which is item, a new index, and section 0. Whoops, 0. There we go. Now this case we're not actually going to be able to test yet because we are not ordering the data. It's just is always going to come back from Firestore in the same order that we see it right here. In the next lesson, we're going to be learning about how to order and query your data in different ways, and there we'll be able to test this. But right now, you just have to take my word that this is going to work, and in the next lesson, we'll test it. All right, so I will see you there.